Welcome to Friiiidayyy Doooose, the Backupmonster show. We are here on our first episode, the Backupmonster Band. Backupmonster Band. The first episode, Backup versus Friiiidayyy. Let me introduce the first guest. Ligier from IBM. How are you, Grzegorz?
Still fine, still alive.
Great. I'm really glad that you have you here. Backup versus Friiiidayyy. I think we should start with some tests. Tests. Cookie. We have a cookie, delizia. How to say in English?
I have no clue.
I don't have either. Can you take
Delicious
it?
cookie.
Do not eat.
Just take it.
Yeah, just take it, and we'll see how
So,
it's
so
flipped.
it's trying to put
Yeah,
it on
jam
plate. Okay.
or cookie.
As always, jam.
Jam, butter,
Delizia.
same.
Some of the audience doesn't know you. I know.
I
There are
hope
some
so.
people.
I hope
There are
so.
some people. Could you tell a little bit about yourself? About your
About
career?
myself?
Yeah. About your private life. Go on.
Private life. Look, I was electrical engineer, and I have a very interesting proposal for a job in my profession. However, it was beginning of 90s, and I was not able to afford it. Therefore, I became a seller. Nothing more.
Still electric and
And then I became a seller, right? And I'm
Okay.
still selling.
so you're doing the sales.
Definitely. As you can see, I'm constantly selling.
So what's your foothold when you send in the
Foothold?
yeah, when you send in the emails?
Well, in the emails, it's very simple, right? It's spectrum storage, which translates in a normal word. Therefore, I'm still, offering the solutions in the area of software-defined storage. So trying to convert people from regular buying irons to buy a little bit of software and build their own solutions, much more flexible, much more agile.
I did some research about you, and
And what did you find?
I would like to share with you, and hopefully you will share with us, the elevators. Research about the elevators.
Well, I don't know if you really found it on Google, because it would be very, very surprising. But you are right. It's I don't.
He will talk about elevators right now.
Loving in elevator.
We are going that way.
I don't think it's the Aerosmith style. Okay, let's figure it out. So elevators and research.
Look, the famous experiments, social experiments. So if you will go a little bit backwards to the elevator experiment, you will find Salomon Ash experiment with drawings and how social influence the responses of an experimenter. The problem down there with Ashley experiment was that it was a strong influence. The beauty of elevator experiment is that the person who is entering the elevator and finding another people standing backwards to the door, right, which is completely crazy, because they don't see who is entering it, they don't see the signs, which floors they are standing. And you start to behaving like them, despite the fact that there's completely no rationale behind. So you are doing irrational thing
Against your,
against any
against
common
your thinking,
sense,
yeah.
against any common sense, right? And what is the interesting part of it is that it is really happening in our business life. People do things not because they are right things to do, just because the others are doing in that way. If you think a little bit, what you are right now doing, you are trying to persuade the others to do the things.
I don't copy anybody right now.
You are not copying, but you are creating a common understanding. You are trying to create a mainstream of thinking about how to do backup, how to behave in a storage area, what to do with the clouds,
So I'm the elevator man, because, after feeling pressure, you're doing the same things as the others. We are easily breached from this social philosophy movement into the business. Do you see any relations?
Well, there are plenty of relations, right? And we have seen, the same in the beginning of 20s. Everybody was trying to be .com company, right? You remember this trend, right? And then
I don't have .com domain, so unfortunately.
Anymore, right? But look, in a beginning of the century,
Yeah, I know.
it was a must, right? You need
quite
to be a
crazy.
cloud, right?
Okay, so you're moving into the cloud right now.
Well, this is a new must,
but
right,
before-
in business.
But before we move there, let's start with first quiz. So I will tell you one word.
A part of IBM, of course, right?
No. So I will tell
It
you
would be too easy for me.
So, unfortunately not everywhere. So I will tell you the name, let's say smartphones.
Okay.
Who is the inventor of the smartphone?
For me, it will be Nokia, despite the fact that the common knowledge is that it was Apple, right? But I still remember the first, Nokia 9000 something, right?
With the Symbian OS.
Symbian was later on, right? But it was this communicator, and it was kind of a smartphone.
IP phones. Somebody asked this question. IP phones.
IP phones.
I know.
IP phones, it's Cisco, right?
Cloud.
Cloud. Well, Amazon, they are the biggest one. I got your
Amazon
tip.
was the first one, unfortunately. Yep.
I'm not sure if they have been the first one. Definitely, currently, they are the biggest one. They have over 50% of the market share. Definitely, they are the biggest one. Have they been the first one? I'm not sure, really. They were?
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Printers.
Printers. Difficult one. I don't know. Sharp?
No.
Xerox.
Microwaves.
No clue. Sorry, no clue.
Microwaves band.
I don't know. Popcorn guys?
It's really difficult question, actually.
I have
Who
no clue.
knows who was the first in the microwaves? Okay, let me introduce the next guest. Piotr Beńke, IBM CTO for Poland and Baltic states. It's a pleasure, Piotr.
It's a pleasure for me as well.
We know each other for, I guess, more than 10 years right now.
Definitely more than 10 years.
Definitely. So, are we victims of MIFI laws, gents, Piotr?
It depends. It depends if you are prepared for a special situation, unpredictable situation, that you cannot be a pure victim, I would say, yeah? Because you know how to tackle with such a situation, and sometimes you are a winner in strange, difficult situation as well.
Okay.
So you mean you have a backup plan?
Yeah, you have a plan B, plan C, or if not, then you must improvise. But for
Plan C,
improvisation,
it's quite,
Yeah.
it's not easy to have a plan C. I think most of the people,
Yes.
they don't have a plan B for their life, for their
yes, of
situations.
course. But if you have good tools, you can improvise. But you be prepared. You have to have tools to your disposal to improvise in such a situation.
Okay. I heard some stories that you love sports.
Yep.
Could you tell us a little bit what type of the sports? Because I'm always trying to relate it, what we're doing in private life and how it's connecting to the business side.
Yeah, I'm trying to do lots of sports. Yeah, skiing, cycling, running, sailing from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested in all the activities which will help me feel better.
Does a sport helps you to working as a businessman, working in IBM as a CTO?
Yeah, definitely, because I need sometimes to have my time only for me. So this is why I'm running. When I'm swimming, I am also I have my thoughts only for me, and I can rethink something, some things which are at work as well.
Yeah, it's a common question, if you are walking with your dog, and you are thinking about a presentation which you are supposed to make. Are you currently walking with your dog, or actually you are really working, right? Because it's a kind of, previously we had this work-life balance. Currently we have rather work-life integration. Because it's integrating, right?
Work-life integration. Yeah. This is interesting. I would like to also hear a comment about it.
So this is what I am observing myself, and I guess Piotr has the same, right?
So coming back to the elevator. Oh no! Should we blindly follow the trends?
I don't think so. I'm trying to select interesting areas which I am going to follow, but I am trying to be, my decision shouldn't be blind. Yeah? So this is why I am very careful at the beginning when the trend is appearing on the world.
So it's not the newest is the best. Yes?
Yeah, maybe it's the best, but you need to have some time to evaluate if it is valuable or not. If you want to waste your time, or you can turn your time to a valuable thing. Yeah?
Our episode is strictly related to the backup. Do you personally do a backup?
Grzegorz? Definitely. If you think about it, nobody really needs backup. From time to time, we need to restore. And by the way, it was a paradigm true for many, many years. Right? Backup was just a cost, a waste of resource, a waste of money. And we are right now trying to change it, actually. Okay. We are trying to reuse this data which are available on the backup and archives. And this is another discussion, you know, what's the difference between backup and archive.
I will come back to this question later on. Piotr?
I do backups. Okay. Yeah, I do backups, and from time to time I need to restore as well.
That's a common problem, right? That people do not verify if a backup is actually running and if they can really make a restore. And the majority of problems and complaints are because, you know, nobody actually tests, you know, if it is possible to restore it.
Because in the past I implemented many backup systems for our clients, and at the end, we always did some tests if the backup is working or not, and I encouraged clients to
do it regularly.
To do it on a regular basis every half a year.
Good practice.
At least one a year. There are some regulations that requires for some customers to do some tests of the backup on a regular basis every quarter, every half a year. Yeah.
Grzegorz said that backups related to the costs. And I think this is one of the major problems that in the last 20, 25 years, everybody thinks the data protection platform related to the costs. It's like an insurance. You think everybody thinks still the same, or something is changing? Piotr?
Up to one point. When something happens, then this is not a cost, it's a saving.
Okay.
Yeah, because when you are losing your production environment and your production data, then the only way to recover is backup. And thanks to this, you can save your money just recreating the entire operation of your company at the end. So I perceive backup as a cost when it operates and everything is fine, but it's safer when you are recovering data.
Many times comparing the backup and the data protection platforms like life insurance, yes? So you're always thinking about it's some yearly costs, but if something happens, well, you are happy that you made this investment. Yeah.
You save much more than cost cover spent.
Exactly. Yeah? Let's stop for a second. Simple question. Backup versus archive. Everybody thinks that they know the answer, but 95% they don't have any clue what's the difference. The question is, to you guys.
Piotr for sure knows.
So that's why we will start with you.
Well,
what the sales is saying about it?
My definition is quite simple. Backup is what you need to restore your operations on a daily basis, right? And this is done usually on daily basis. The archive is something that you need to persist for a longer period of time. So if you have a regulatory obligation to keep it for 5, 10, sometimes 25 years, you keep it in an archive. Those data are usually not in production, not in current production. You don't use them daily. Therefore, you don't need to have them in a backup, but you need to keep them for a longer period of time. Am I right, Piotr, or have I mixed something?
Yeah, you're right.
And I think, again, if I'm asking the people, they're saying, okay, so your definition is, if I will put a backup for the longer term, like 365 days or 5 years, so this backup equals archive. Piotr, what do you think about it, about these definitions?
Not exactly. It depends on what kind of tools are you going to use for this long-term backup, I would say. Archive must be a complete set of data. So this is no incremental set, it's rather full.
So it's a separated set.
Yeah, separated set, which allows auditors, regulators, to verify the information inside this data. It's needed when you, for example, have some technical problem with your infrastructure, but not only on-premise infrastructure, also in cloud as well, when you need data to continue operations, when you notice some...
So it's much more related to the business continuity.
Yes, exactly.
Precisely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Precisely.
and backup is also needed when you have some logical issues, not only technical issue on the hardware or cloud level, but also on a logical level, when, for example, database will be corrupted because of some mistakes, and you are operating for a while.
Even human error, right?
Yes,
It happens,
even
right?
human error. Yeah, and
Most
then,
cases,
and
unfortunately.
then you need backups. Yeah, so this is the difference between backup and archive.
Well, with archive, as an anecdote, I was once took by a sales team to the customer, where customer was asking for archive, right? So usually archive, okay, connected with my person and as an expert sales expert going there. And actually they need an archive, but they need an archive of whole business operations. It was pharmaceutical company, right? So their problem was that they are looking, forward to the future, and they know that if somebody in 10 years will claim that the medicine is acting improperly, it's causing some kind of disease, they need to prove that in a moment they introduce it to the market, the knowledge, available knowledge, was not indicating that the disease might occur in 10 years, right? So for them, archiving was not only archiving data, it was archiving whole the process of gathering information and verifying this information. So if you think about archiving, sometimes it's much beyond technology. You need to consider the whole business process. And backup is just preventing your operations in case something wrong will happen, right?
The data protection platforms of backup is a must for today companies?
The truth is, if you're using replication to keep the continuity of the business, the problem with replication is very simple. When the error occurs, you're replicating the error as well, right? And that's why, in the end, almost 100% of companies do use some kind of backup. Well, you might say that me as a seller, I have a very difficult position because market is simply saturated, right? Everybody has a backup. What the hell are you doing, right? New companies.
So for you, it's a must-have.
For market, it's must-have. For me, luckily, majority
But you're doing a backup as a person. So I think...
For me, it's also must-have. Despite that, I have a replication. I have a replication of my data. But still,
Sales guy with the replication of the backup, good one.
well...
And Piotr?
Yep. Yeah, for me, backup is must at the moment. We are operating in an environment where we are working and we are living from data. So losing part of it for many businesses means just going out of the business.
Today's companies is the 21st century gasoline. So
it's a natural resource.
Yeah, it's a natural resource. It's one of the most precious assets, right? Fully aware, and everybody said must have. What type? On-prem, cloud, hybrid?
I think it's a combination right now. It depends on the business model the company is implementing, because in case when we have everything in cloud, it's difficult to implement on-prem backup system just to have it here on-prem. But in case when you are working in a hybrid mode, so you have partially systems in on-prem and some of the systems are in cloud, it's worth to consider that backup can be also hybrid model as well. Okay. So there's not a simple question which implementation is better, but there are some technical limitations. In case when you are doing backups every day and there is a pretty big amount of data and you have limited access to the network, so the network is an issue, so throughput is not so sufficient to do the backup on daily basis, then of course you must select on-premise solution.
Okay.
I couldn't agree more than with Piotr. In the end, the seller needs to listen to the customer and figure it out what's the best for his particular, environment. That's basically it.
Okay. And which technologies leverage and drive data protection platforms in a new level?
In my opinion, artificial intelligence and blockchain
Okay.
they will be introduced to backup and archiving systems.
So the two
Why?
major trends
Yeah.
right now.
Two major trends right now. Why? Because we are tackling with big data. We have to backup or archive this data. Sometimes this data at this point in time have a little value, but we don't know how valuable it will be in the future when we'll know how to extract information from this data.
Okay.
So, and extracting information means applying artificial intelligence. So about blockchain, I think this technology allows us to ensure that the data stored using this technology is persistent and transparent to auditors, to regulators. So it will help us to be more reliable and more compliant with the regulations in the future as well. This is one of the applications of blockchain. We can list many of this, but this is the one of it.
Okay, Grzegorz, your turn, my friend.
But Piotr already has covered the topic. He's precisely right. Blockchain is really changing here a lot, right? Because we currently
So
have
it's not only a game changer for the let's say finance industry,
Oh no!
for
no,
the
no,
payments.
Yeah,
So
in
it's
my
also
opinion,
changing the
game-
way
yeah,
how
for
to.
whole industries.
Okay,
Yeah, so all
okay.
industries
It's
will be
important
affected
part.
by this technology.
Exactly. I don't know who has made this famous statement that they are lies, big slice, and statistics, right? And analytical is what's really creating the statistics. Now, in a moment, we can really trust the originals of data. We can then trust the result of analytical job, we trust the statistic which is being produced based on it. Therefore, we have much more reliable source of making decisions for the future. And here we are coming to this once again, you know, this lift experiment. The point here is why majority of people do follow the crowd, because they don't have tools and time, sometimes ability to really examine by their own the amount of data which are coming. In a moment, they are more trust this outcome of analytics, then they can really apply the judgment by their own without, you know, looking to the crowd behavior and then in the end standing backwards to the door, right? So they can really make their own decision in a more reliable manner. And this is what technology is actually changing, and this is how the future will look like.
Team, thank you for your time.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah,
It was a
thank
true
you very
pleasure.
much. Yeah.
That was a Grzegorz Ligier, the elevator sales guy, and that was a Piotr Beńke, the CTO for the Baltics state and Poland. Guys, that was a pleasure to have you as a guest today. Hopefully to see you next episode. The Backupmonster Show. Thank you for your time and see you on next episode. If you saw a teaser, you know that every participant, every guest sitting here need to have a roar contest. The louder, the better. We'll check the roar volume. So let's start.
Wow.
Okay. Grzegorz?
Meow.
They need to come back to the other episodes. Thank you for this quiz.
Beautiful nation. Like a sick Friiiday Doooose.